In her latest bout of delusional self-importance, Kari Lake thinks Hillary Clinton will try to have her assassinated. That's the problem, though. Only important, relevant, dangerous people get assassinated, not people like Kari Lake. Show us you matter to the greater cultural, political narrative, Kari Lake. Don't tell us because we hear you and we're not buying it.
They know they can't win on that, and they have to try every other measure to try to control the government. And it's almost comical that Hillary Clinton is talking about Trump wanting to kill his opponents. I just want to say, as I'm speaking about this topic, I want everyone out there to know that my brakes on my car have recently been checked and they work. I'm not suicidal. And Hillary, I don't mean any harm to you. Please don't send your henchmen out to me. We understand what you're about, and we know what President Trump wants to do. Every single stop I've been to has been maximum plus capacity, standing room only.
Kari Lake is currently running for the Arizona Senate seat, hoping to fill Kyrsten Sinema's soon-to-be vacant seat. She still thinks she is the rightful governor of Arizona, as she refuses to admit defeat in that race, and she still thinks she's got a shot at being named Trump's running mate. But in the meantime, she is keeping herself and all of us busy with her Senate race.
Pretty much everything Joe Biden and Ruben Gallego touch does not go well. These are all self-inflicted wounds, and it's going to take common sense Republicans to get us out of this, and that's why we're rallying behind me. I'm going to have a couple of other really big endorsements coming here in the next couple of days. Ruben Gallego doesn't have a single U.S. senator endorsing him.
Leader Schumer had just endorsed him a couple of minutes ago.
Okay, so he's got Chuck Schumer, one of the most radical, outrageous people on the planet, endorsing him.
But Kari Lake is nothing if not a conspiracy theorist. She has been crying wolf over non-existent and unproven voter fraud for years, even as it continually gets her into legal trouble. And earlier this week on Newsmax, she peddled the conspiracy theory that the Clintons have their opponents dealt with, and she suggested that she, for some reason, could be next on the Clintons' hit list. Lake was responding to a clip of Clinton speaking about the quote-unquote bromance between Putin and Trump, with Clinton attributing it to Trump's admiration over Putin's unconventional methods of governance. She said, quote, "Putin does what he would like to do, kill his opposition, imprison his opposition, drive journalists and others into exile, rule without any check or balance." Lake responded, quote, "How many of her friends have just mysteriously died or committed suicide?" I have no idea. How many, Kari? I can think of one in particular, but that guy was also Trump's friend, so who's to say who was actually responsible for Jeffrey Epstein's supposed suicide? She goes on to say that Trump wants to root out corruption in government, which is why Hillary Clinton, who is not currently working in government, seems nervous. She says that Democratic policies are, quote, destructive, deadly, and frankly, in some ways, diabolical. Which is ironic, as the Supreme Court is right at this very minute hearing Republican-backed arguments against providing health care for pregnant women. If that's not destructive, deadly, and diabolical, I don't know what is. And finally, she issued a disclaimer that she is not suicidal and that she has recently had the brakes checked on her car, so if she mysteriously turns up missing, we will know that it wasn't an accident. It was probably Hillary Clinton who, for some unknown reason, was willing to conspire to murder Kari Lake. How flattering for Kari Lake to think that someone like Hillary, who, whether you love her or you hate her, is in her own right an American political legacy, is worried about someone like Kari Lake. But it's what they say. If someone hates you or obsesses over you, it's significantly more flattering than if someone just doesn't think about you at all. And for me, doing the kind of work that I do, I oftentimes have to speak about people who I don't think are worthy of my personal time or energy, but for one reason or another, they are culturally and politically relevant. Kari Lake has done an impressive job of keeping herself relevant, and right now I'm probably not helping. But the sad fact of the matter is that there is a chance that this woman could be serving in our United States Senate, in the high house of Congress. She could be influencing and making laws that affect all of us on a national level, and her general delusion and unhingedness is concerning. And I know I already mentioned what's currently taking place in the Supreme Court regarding women's rights to health care, specifically in the state of Idaho, but the state of Arizona has recently made its own headlines regarding abortion and women's health care when the Republican-controlled Arizona Supreme Court banned abortion in the state by resurrecting a law from the 1800s from before Arizona was even a state. At first, Lake said it was, quote, a great law, and she supported it. Then, after the state Supreme Court decision, Lake said the law was, quote, out of step with Arizonans, and she implored state legislatures to repeal it. And then, in an interview with the Idaho Dispatch, she said, quote, unfortunately, the people running our state have said we're not going to enforce it. We don't have that law as much as many of us wish we did. Just a reminder that the Arizona executive branch is currently being run by Democrats. Lake lost her bid for governor to Democrat Katie Hobbs. This is about people's actual lives. This is about human rights to health care. The case in the Supreme Court is about whether or not doctors and emergency room staff should be obligated to treat and stabilize patients. This is about doctors turning pregnant women away from ERs while they were mid-miscarriage because they didn't want to lose their medical license for potentially aiding an abortion. This is about politicians making decisions that only doctors and patients should be making. This is about the party of small government overstepping into people's personal lives and into women's bodies. Kari Lake, I don't know how else to tell you this, but this is not about you. All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out my podcast, Modern Context. Thanks.